Let me see here. We live. What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Welcome. Who we got your camera fixed?
Is it good now?
I think so. We're live. Good to see everybody. We're just, as usual, getting set up and making sure our tech's good. Brian got his video. Yes, good. Your video is good and smooth now. It's the 1080. You had it on 4K earlier, huh?
I did.
Yeah, that kills it. Yeah, awesome. What's up? Let me adjust.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
Give people a minute or two to trickle in.
Need the autofocus to kick in.
Who's this? Let me fix your name here, Brian.
Yeah, just there you go. Just put Brian.
All right. Everyone good? How's everyone doing? See you guys in the
How's
chat.
my mic?
Mic sounds good.
Good.
All right, good.
We chilling.
Man.
What up?
What a start, huh?
Day, but it's a good day. Let me see here. Okay, everyone's got their names good and dialed. Gecko Pod. All right, guys.
Oh shit!
All right, we got 24 people trickled in.
So what's new?
What's up?
You guys had a nice summer?
Yeah, it's been good. Busy.
It's been good. Tinley's coming up, huh?
Lots of animal work.
Oh my god!
Lots of
busy
shipping.
Summer.
You guys are both going to Tinley, yeah? I mean, AJ's vending, so
I am, yeah. I'll be there.
Brian, you're going?
I am so far.
Cool. You're not bailing yet?
Everybody that's not going is making me not want to go now.
Oh no, there's a lot of good people going still.
Yeah, but like the main people I want to go see is like
me.
I mean, well, yeah, AJ's going, but like the group, and there's still a lot of people that still I want to see. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're maybe still or maybe not.
Me, yeah, I'm on the fence ish. Yeah, I'm not sure. Who's going? Anybody in the chats? Anybody going, not going, plan to go? Okay, I think we're all good. We dialed. Okay. Well, I'll just intro us and we'll just keep chatting. We are episode, what's this? AJ 44 or 3?
43,
44.
I think. 44?
No, 44. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The new grader was 43. So this is episode 44 of the Gecko Pod, a live podcast. We are a podcast for the Gecko community where we talk about breeding as a hobby and as a business. My name is Harry at Zero's Geckos. AJ, you wanna introduce yourself, and then Brian.
I'm AJ from Local Kid Reptiles. AJD Reptiles.
Crave Reptiles.
And we got Brian from Who's Geckos.
Who is this guy? Who's this kid?
Who?
Who?
Who is this kid?
Who is it?
Who?
Yeah, New York.
What's up,
The
guys?
New York local kid.
We sandwich AJ. We're both on the coast, Cali and New York.
Golden Oreo.
Golden Oreo. Yep.
AJ's in the NC.
Yes, I am.
Oh man,
glad to be here.
Good to see everybody. About 36.
We had like crazy hot weather this week, right? I don't know if it's countrywide.
It's been hot. It's really hot here. It's been like 95 every day.
Oh, here too, man. It's disgusting.
It's only been 80
hot,
here, which is nice.
But it's hot and humid. That's the difference. It's not just hot. It's humid too. I think like 90% humidity. It's disgusting.
Oh, I love that.
Jeez.
You guys prefer humid heat over dry heat?
No, dry heat.
Dry
heat.
I like the humid, but
yeah, me too. Reminds me of Hawaii. I was telling AJ. It's like,
that's how I
like North Carolina because it's like humid. It's 90 and humid. I was like, oh, a little bit warmer than Hawaii, but it's humid like Hawaii, so it's nice.
Oh yeah.
I told Harry, I'm
tropical.
like, I feel like when I was young, anytime I went somewhere that was hot and humid, I was on vacation. And so I have
Yeah,
like fond memories of being like hot and humid. And then now where I live, I'm like, oh, it's like I'm on vacation all the time.
Every day you wake up on vacation.
Every day I'm on
You're
vacation.
you're at your Airbnb on a huge plot of land. It's amazing.
As long as it's hot and humid and there's a good breeze. So when you're on vacation, it's usually you got the wind breeze from the ocean. Man, the air is stagnant here. So it's pretty nasty.
It's pretty windy. It's pretty consistently windy where I live. So maybe that helps.
Well, normally it is, but this week wasn't. It's like it's like a sauna.
I love it, man.
Scott deals with that humid all year round.
Scotty's in Florida.
Got Scotty too hotty.
The devil's armpit.
Devil's armpit. Oh, Penny's going to Tinley. You guys will see.
Oh,
Penny.
nice.
Penny is going.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
awesome.
get to see her in person.
DNA's going.
DNA.
Who else is going?
It's crazy that we're already to Tinley time again. I'm like,
what's up, Omni Geckos? Good to have you here, Kevin.
Time does fly so fast. I feel like yesterday was Flora Fauna, and then now we're going to Tinley right in less than a month.
Yeah, man, crazy. That's fast. Soon it'll be Flora Fauna again in no time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh my gosh,
I see that she's booking the vendors. So all three of us are vending.
Oh, Flora Fauna? Yeah, that's right.
Flora Fauna, yeah.
We are. I'll be sharing a table with Chad Kaimana, but hopefully they put us on around the same area so we can all hang out and watch each other's animals while we
I just want to be near the hot dog station. No.
I missed the hot dogs last year.
Yeah, you did. So did I.
Look how big the head is. It's huge.
He took his head off.
Jeez.
Yeah. These things, this is not a small piece, man.
That's cool.
Good to see everyone. Any hot pressing topics to start us off with?
Sure, Brian's got one. He's always coming in hot. You're always coming in hot.
I mean, how hot? I don't know what.
What's happened? What's
the newest thing that we've seen? We saw, obviously there's a chocho thing we can talk about.
We talk about chochos, genetic hypos. We can talk about genetic hypos.
Oh, genetic hypos.
What about my genetic Dalmatian? How about that?
Have you seen my new genetic pinstripe?
How about my genetic empty back? I got one of those.
I got genetic phantoms, genetic harlequins.
Do you have advanced genetic phantoms?
Oh,
advanced. Oh yeah, that was another one.
If they're not advanced, I don't want it.
I got an advanced white phantom apparently.
Advanced. That one was a good one. That was great.
Oh,
you gotta love the internet, man. You gotta love the internet.
And there's never more than a few days without something entertaining happening. That's for sure.
Yeah. We could talk about.
I can talk about that. Put that in the queue, Harry. I'll talk about it.
How many?
This one?
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
So I posted a reel today talking about how many females you should pair to a single male. Apparently,
let's talk about that.
25 to 35.
We put out ask us any question on our Instagram, and that was one of the questions was it exactly? And it's tied exactly to what you said, Brian. So this is from Little Beastie Reptiles, addressing some of the latest controversy. How many females is too many for one male in a season? Yeah.
I say 25 to 35 is too many.
But think about let's think about how many times.
Yeah, let's do devil's advocate here, because I was talking with Brian from Sundown, and he had a good point. I thought this was a good point. We were talking about it, that if you co-house a gecko, say you co-house a gecko 1.2 for the whole season, how many times do you think he's breeding in that season?
So
you don't know, but
a lot.
But not once per female.
If he only co-house 5 times.
If you co-house 1.2 in this hobby, it's frowned upon.
Is it? No,
Is it though?
Wait,
No,
huh?
I don't think it is.
Crested geckos?
Yeah, I don't know,
think
man.
so many
by
big
who?
breeders
By
do
who?
co-house.
I don't know. I just think I wouldn't. So all right. Back in 2009, when I first got a crested gecko, I cohabbed. I had 1.3s, right? 1.3 crested and 1.3 gargoyles, and it did fine, and they never had issues. But if you go publicly talking about cohabbing geckos, crested geckos, in any Facebook group, I guarantee you will be canceled immediately.
I mean, those are from like more pet people or people that aren't deep in the hobby. But everybody, all the big breeders, I guarantee you, most
Yeah,
people.
I mean, like if you talk about like Butler co-house, he'll co-house males and he'll move like two females in a cage, move a male in and out, like AC 1.3s, 1.4s. Like, a lot of these people that are larger than like hobby sized are not doing like pair and then pull the male out. I guess that's like more like that's common in a certain level and higher, and those people don't get canceled. But people don't really talk about their care. They don't talk about their care either.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess it's gonna breed more than 25 to 35 times, of course.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's just,
I guess that's just. I think it is different. Those two things are different. Like putting 1.2 together and leaving them all year probably causes a lot less stress on the animal than breeding 25 individual females or 35 individual females. It is different. But if we just talk about like, if people want to make the argument that it's just about like how many times he breeds, I think that's probably not the argument to have. And it's more about the stress of moving cage to cage, not eating, maybe kind of fighting with each female that he has to breed, so it's not like clean. It's not like a clean argument, it's hard to, because even if he did a 1.1, he could breed him 50 times a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this is my experience. I paired I only have a pair of Dals. That's it. And then I co-housed them for maybe 3 months during the prime season, and you could hear him chirping like often. And so I'm sure with that one female, he did it several times, right? But yeah, that's the argument of how many times he actually does the thing versus how many females he's put with. I think those are, like AJ said, those are two separate things. So.
And I also think the problem here is the post was made to make it seem like a money grab.
Yeah.
And that's where it became an issue, more of like, hey, listen, I'm going to crank this out so that way I can make 1 million of these things and, make as much money as I can, by capitalizing on that single male.
Yeah, that's a different.
So that becomes a huge, that becomes a big debate as well.
Yeah, it's a multifaceted issue, It's like, which angle do you want to take it from?
Yeah. Do you think this is an accurate statement, AJ and Brian? Cohabiting more than one female in the mix makes less stress per individual female, in my opinion. 1.2 or 1.3 seems to keep them comfortable and producing consistently.
Yes and no. Yes. Explain. Yes, if you have a male that is like hyper aggressive breeding wise, like the breeding's spread out. But no, because females can also bully each other. So like I have a couple pairs, like I have a couple pairs that stay together. Like Felix and Julia stay together. Most like his home base is with Julia, right? He lives there and they do awesome together. So like that's his home base. If he breeds another female, he gets moved to that female's cage, but he goes back to Julia.
So Felix and Julie typically stay together.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
But he will go and breed another female, but he always he'll go over there 2 weeks or whatever, a week, and then he'll come back. And they have no issues being left together. But there's other males where it's like, you cannot leave them paired because they will just bother the female and breed the female until she just would crash from not eating. So
you got to keep an eye on those.
It's kind of individual animal. As a general rule of thumb, the safest thing to do is to pair and then unpair maybe a week later. 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, and then unpair is like the safe bet. But if you know your animals well, there's no reason why you couldn't leave a pair together if you knew them. But
yeah, I think as long as you're monitoring both animals or all the animals to make sure none of them are losing weight or becoming lethargic, that's the main thing, is just to make sure that they're all healthy and just being that they can handle it and nobody's being stressed, nobody's being overbred and stuff. Because sometimes males, like I get males that are in breeding season, all they want to do is breed and they barely want to eat. So I have to like pull them from breeding for a little bit, pull them out of for like a good 3 weeks, and hopefully they can recuperate before I can introduce again.
Yep.
So
same here.
I guess just make sure all the animals are healthy. You can know by how they
they
by
look,
monitoring their weight,
their eating
and
habit,
their activity.
Yes.
No,
that is.
Those are good points.
I gotta switch headphones because I keep
go for it.
The sound keeps cutting in and out. I'll be back.
You're good. Yep, you're good. You want me to answer the question about shipping, Harry? Delta?
Yeah, let me pull that back up with Chelsea.
Yeah. Okay. With Delta. So Chelsea, how you do this is Delta Cargo. Go on their website. There's just like a general, make an account link, and it's gonna, prompt you for all your information. You have to use what's on your like federal ID down to a T, or they will deny you because they like TSA check you. So make sure you use all of your like federal name, address, everything that's on your driver's license. Use that. And that's pretty basic. I could walk you through kind of some more details past that, but you just kind of book you book an airway bill, kind of like booking a flight on that website. You basically book a flight with the dimensions of the box and the weight of the box. And then you go to your local Delta Cargo hub, wherever that is, and ship it to the location that you're moving. So you ship it there and then get it picked up when you get there. So
Chelsea, where are you moving to? Across the country, meaning California? Let us know. Just wondering. Sorry, AJ, keep going.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a lot more nuanced than I can just explain in a quick answer. I can talk anybody through it that wants to know. But also, I learned everything I learned on how to do it just from calling Delta. So you can always just, if you want to learn, you can just call Delta Cargo and kind of have them walk you through it. They were very helpful for me. So.
Oh, Chelsea, you goes in Nebraska. What's in Nebraska?
Oh, nice. Corn.
Corn. Awesome.
Corn and tornadoes. It's great.
Corn and tornadoes. Oh, that's funny. A question. Let me pull up this question. Are you guys familiar with the margin gene? Do you guys know about that? It's an AC reptile animal. He put a post out calling it the margin, or last week. Let me try to pull it up.
Really? Can you pull it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, keep chatting.
I didn't see it either. It's interesting.
We'll pull this thing up here. And hold for a second. Yeah. Let me see reptiles.
Yeah, Chelsea, it's not even overnight. Like imagine, so like when I went out to California with Harry, my flight, like I put the geckos on the flight I was on. So 7 a.m. out of North Carolina, and Harry and I picked him up at what, like 10:30 or 11 a.m. in California. Yeah. So like, only like 6 or 7 hours total time. It depends on how long your flight is. It's basically, you have to drop it off 2 hours before your flight takes off, the flight that the animals are on, and then you can pick it up 1 hour after the flight lands. If that makes sense. So.
Yeah. So AC says for those wondering after the weekend drop. Margin or dark margin is a working title for whatever this dark margin of pigment between the pin scales and dorsal surface. This gecko has some tangerine. Dark margin
Looks
has
like
funky purplish look.
It's a reverse pinstripe.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Reverse pinstripe to me. That's what I was. What's he describing?
I've seen that a long time.
we don't
That's
know.
new.
That's just that's a reverse pinstripe.
Alexander, basically, we don't. It's a reverse pinstripe. We're not sure.
I mean, unless I'd shown otherwise, I've hatched a lot of those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He says this gene is not new, and I've been selling it for years in small numbers, but other breeders have different term. I'd call it a reverse pinstripe, but
yeah. So it's nothing crazy new. Nothing new.
Sorry.
Samesies. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Reverse. I had not seen anything about that.
Margin. Guess he just wants to claim everybody's names. Everybody wants to claim a name.
It's a cool name, but
Margin.
He should have called it margarine.
it looks like a block
like
of
a margarine butter.
It looks like a moldy margarine piece of margarine.
I can't believe it's not butter. Is this gecko's name?
I can't believe it's not butter. Spray. Are super caps healthy?
Wasn't
or not
that
healthy?
a Fabio commercial?
Yeah,
Fabio used to do. I can't believe it's not the butter.
Our super cap. Okay, a couple of questions.
I say not healthy for the majority of them, but
not.
But I guess I've seen some healthy ones. I don't know if because they.
And what do we define as healthy?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
They look like crap.
If you have some, don't worry. Just take care of your animals. Brian doesn't like them.
I wouldn't intentionally breed for supers.
I mean, people.
I know we've talked about that, but
people are still doing that. Like
people are trying to prove it out.
I get it. So people are saying, all right, this is actually a perfect opportunity to talk about this. So there's few people that are still proving out caps by breeding, trying to do possible cap to possible cap by creating supers. So initially, I have an animal here that I produced and I wasn't sure. I mean, she looked like a pos cap, but I wasn't sure she was cap or not. And I bred her.
There.
I have her. I had bred her to a lily white. And
you don't have the fancy Sony autofocus. Oh, there goes. Yeah.
Bro, you can tell that is a frap.
Yeah, clearly.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a frap.
So, and right out of the egg, I knew it was a frap. So when I messaged the breeder, that the guy I bought the pos frap from, I was like, bro, that it was a cap. So I was like, your parents, one of them is cap. He messaged me back and he goes, oh, I meant to, I didn't have your contact. I forgot what your contact was. And I had hatched a baby this year and it was a suit. And he showed me a picture of the super cap. He goes, both parents were caps. I was like, oh, okay. So I ended up getting cap from, ended up being proven lines. But prior to hatching this out, I didn't know that. So so there's also people who've been posting like, oh, I got this frap from my possible cap. And I look at it, I'm like, that's not a cap. Like you can tell when you hatch your first frap and you put it next to a regular lily white, it's night and day almost. So you can tell the difference right away.
Yeah, I think with the last live we showed the differences, right? Like when you
hatch.
Oh yeah, on the pictures, yeah. This thing is pretty cool. And it's weird. The picture's making it like brighter, but the head is like is nice and dark.
Brian, I'll show you a gecko too while we're here.
Oh, there you go.
Show us some geckos.
I don't know if I'll be able to see it very well.
Andrew says, "Are you 100% sure?" It looks fat, dude.
Brian, look at this.
Ooh,
red
I love that.
frap.
Oh yeah, that's sick, man.
From Janine.
Yeah.
It started dark.
Ooh, treehouse.
And it went
That's a tuxedo
red.
line.
I'm trying to get this thing to show.
Oh, it started dark.
It started dark and it went red. Isn't that cool?
I would think
That's
I
cool.
would have hoped
cooler than a
that
red frappies.
it would have
a lot of red frappies.
Stayed dark, man.
I know we've talked about like not seeing red caps, but here you go.
We're trying. That's kind of good because that's sick, man.
Thoughts on Kevin saying caps are cheap enough? It's better to just buy one that's proven lineage at this point. That's fair, right?
Which is true, 100% true. But I bought that female almost 2 years ago now.
Yep.
So
when it was still when things weren't proven.
And,
you weren't buying unproven lines on purpose.
And I have proven lines. So right now I have proven lines myself. So it doesn't. I'm not saying to go out cap hunting because it'd probably be a waste of time.
Yeah. Oh, Drew Davidson. Hello, young man.
Oh, nice Mr. Davidson.
What up?
Davidson. Drew.
Hey, maybe we'll see him in November if I come down.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We're gonna go visit your home again. That was fun.
Yeah, it was great. Beautiful home too. Love that garage. That garage was amazing.
And I'm in it right now. Oh, my dad's garage.
Your dad. Yeah.
Your dad. Nah, we've seen yours, AJ.
We like your garage too, man. Your garage is cool too, man.
Yeah. Oh, Ralph says he's got red caps. That's true.
That's true.
Has red and orange caps, which is very true. Yeah.
Aaron
says,
what's up?
I feel like everybody should have a cap in their probably has a cap in their lineup by now.
It's a good tool to have.
They're cheap enough.
Crystal asked, does anyone use an incubator to cool eggs if the room is too warm? If so, any recommendations on type? I just asked this question to, was it you guys or was it Andrew Pino, White Tanks? He posted recently his wine cooler that he uses, and when I clicked the link, it was like $550. Very expensive. And I browsed a little bit on Amazon and found some cheaper ones, $150. Because my problem is that I've been hatching eggs around 80, 90, and I want them to go a little bit longer. But because
days, not degrees.
Days, 80, 90 days. And then because there's swells of heat waves in California. So normally it's around 80-ish, 75 to 80. But then there are some days it's like shoot up to 90, 95. And there's no place in my house cool enough besides a fridge to keep temps down. And so yeah, some eggs have been popping earlier than I'd like. And so, yeah, I think you guys don't use incubators though. You just put them in your basement floors, right? You guys say?
I have it in my closet. I have a closet over there, and it's a cool, dark closet. It's, it's insulated well. It's got cement bottom floors, so the cement floors are even colder.
One second, I'll grab it.
But I think 90 days is a good, decent hatch time. It's not like I usually, mine is like between 90, most of them 90 to 100. So very rarely I don't hit 120 too many. A few do, but nothing crazy. Like it's just the off ones that do. But mine average is 90 to 100.
Okay.
How about you, here's the cheap way to remedy this. Buy one of these.
I got one of those.
The thermometer gun, right?
Use it to
and then I would get a cooler. If you're not have like a million eggs, right? I get like a igloo cooler, and I'd find where you have a cool spot in your house. 72, like near an air vent or whatever, on the floor in a closet, like Brian. Find that spot, and then I'd put the eggs in that cooler, and I would just leave them there. The cooler will give you a little bit of you don't want it like super, you probably want to leave it like cracked a little bit, but it'll give you a little bit more insulation just from like a temperature spike and drop. And then as long as you have a spot that is cooler, this is good because you might not know that like your air temp here is 78, but if you checked your floor in your closet, it's 72, you could not need anything.
Do you put anything in the cooler, like cryo packs? Does that help? No, doesn't matter, huh?
I mean, I know some people like in their wine coolers, say if you have a big wine cooler, the bottom level, they'll fill it with water bottles. Because water holds temperature. So say if you don't have any water in the incubator and you open the door and close it, you're going to have a big swing in temp from opening and closing the door. But if you have like, it's like in big greenhouses, they'll have like big containers, like 55-gallon drums of water within the greenhouse. And that helps hold temperatures overnight when the sun isn't there to provide heat. So the black barrels full of water in a greenhouse, so that they're kind of like solar batteries. They'll kind of hold the energy, and then when it's needed, they'll kind of buffer, right? So that might be a good thing to do too. I mean, you could.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try that. Yeah.
You mentioned that. Don't drop $500. It's probably
there's no reason to do that. I mean, at the very least, go buy $100 window unit and cool your room down.
I mean, I do have my my mini split, which was expensive, but it still stays warmer in this room, so I keep it around like 76, but I want temps to be around 72, right, to incubate, and so I need a cooler spot.
I mean,
but Andrew lives in Phoenix, Arizona, right? So it's like a million degrees there. So he has to protect his. That's an investment he probably should get.
Yeah, cigar humidor. I have my cigars in the humidor.
Yeah, me too. I don't have electric one though. I don't have
electric one either.
You guys both have humidors. I'm not cool like you guys apparently.
Mine is the cheap one from Amazon.
You don't smoke cigars.
It's the acrylic humidor. And I put those Bovita packs in there, and it keeps the humidity around 70. I mean, 60 to 70.
Did Herb Cult make it?
No, man, but China, they both are sourced from China, so
nice. The China special.
You're sponsored by Herb Cult.
We are sponsored by China.
Sponsored by China. Everything's made in China, including me and Brian. Well, we weren't made in China, but we have our ancestors were
sourced from China.
Made in America.
We're made in America, honestly.
Yeah.
I was made in San Francisco.
Nice.
Oh my goodness. That's so funny. 72 max temp costs about 175. Yeah, that's right. I've been checking out too. If you want to buy a cheap, relatively cheap.
Yeah, that's important. If you do buy a wine cooler, there's ones that go like 68 or 66, or like you got to get one that goes higher. So find one that goes to 70 or 72.
But so my issue with these coolers, right? Can you imagine, like, let's say the thermostat goes faulty and then all of a sudden it goes down to like 60 degrees or 50 degrees, and now you're freezing your eggs and now you're done.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of the wine coolers. Like, I'd rather cool the room down personally.
Yeah, this is true. This is what Chelsea. Most wine coolers go to 64 to 68 max. Yeah, got to find one that goes to 70, 72. I found one that goes to 72. It's on Amazon. It's about $140.
I think AJ's with the cooler water bottle thing is probably your best. Is probably one of the safest routes you can go.
I think
just because it's most important when incubating eggs. You're not getting major temp fluctuations. Like if it's gradually going up like 1, 2, 3 degrees and like within a few, like a 5-6 hour time frame, you'll have no issues. But you just don't want like within like a 2-hour time frame going up 5-6 degrees,
Yeah.
So
the thing that I don't know about you guys, but like I filter everything I do in regards to eggs or animals or shipping and everything. Like everything is based on like risk, general risk, right? So like what am I more afraid of? Like my house going down as far as HVAC and all this stuff, or am I worried about like a wine cooler going down? Like I trust, like there's more margin of error like within my house because I have backups. I have like alarms, and I have ways to know what the temps are always in my house. I have like parameters set on temp sensors that alert me if it goes above or below, all of these different things. And it's like the wine cooler doesn't have that. And I mean, unless you want to go spend $1,000 on a Wilbanks incubator, which most people, unless you're like a relatively large breeder, it's not applicable to you, to go spend.
Those are nice.
Yeah, I mean they're nice, but I also I also don't know if I trust it either. I mean, I don't know. Are you gonna put like your entire year's production in a box that you don't know how it was made? I don't know. That freaks me out.
So the difference between people who need the incubators, like reptiles that need to incubate at 85 degrees, 90 degrees,
necessary evil.
Yeah. So us as crested or new cow breeders, it's not necessary. We can cover the incubation based on without the heating elements. So I'll go and tell you a story that I used those egg hoverbators, the styrofoam ones, back in
I use those too.
Early 2000, and I probably had about 150 bearded dragon eggs in there, and the thermostat went bad and it cooked the eggs. Like the temperature was like 125 degrees, 130 degrees. All the eggs gone. 150 eggs done. So that was a one-time instance in like all the years that I was breeding bearded dragons. But you can't.
Yeah.
There was like nothing I could do at that point. Back then, they didn't have Will Banks incubators. Like they didn't have like these nicer. Like the best thing that breeders were using refrigerators and putting a heat tape in there. And using
a computer fan.
And a thermostat. And that was like your best incubation back then, because they didn't really have real incubators. Everybody used hoverbators.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's not too far off on how the incubators are still made today. A lot of the incubators are still like, I have one from Sea Serpents that I bought like 5 years ago for like Nephurus eggs and stuff. And that thing has got like 2 strips of heat tape behind a back panel and a computer fan and a thermostat.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's
like an industry standard. Like 1 million people use those. So yeah, it's interesting.
I remember people would you would go to restaurants, people throwing out like Coke fridges or Snapple fridges. People would buy them just to use them as incubators, just to, you'll have like racks and racks, and they'll put the wire racks in there. You'll have like 12 shelves, and then you could incubate like 3,000 eggs in one refrigerator, 3,000 plus.
How much is the Wilbanks?
They're expensive. You can pull their website up. I think the base one's like $800 or $900.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Like for like a pretty small one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're legit. They're like super, the top end stuff. Is that?
I mean, that's what like Flawless and other people like promote. I just personally, my opinion is like, if you're not putting the same level of thought and care into your animal room staying within proper temperatures, then like, what are you doing? Like if your room's not dialed to where your eggs would be okay, then like if you don't have generators, you don't have window units ready to go. If you're on a central HVAC, like forever, like in a lot, like if I was not in a basement, what I would do is I would have a central HVAC and I'd have a window unit set like 2 degrees above what the room is sitting at as like an emergency, right? So say like your central HVAC goes out when you're out of town. Well, that window unit's going to kick in and cool the room if your like main unit goes out and you don't have a power outage, obviously.
Right.
But like if you're not doing those things for your animals, but you are doing it for your eggs, you might need to look into how you're emergency prepping for the animals,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
dude, this thing's a brand.
I think that's great advice, actually, to make sure, tell everybody, hey, listen, everybody should have a foolproof plan and plan for the worst, right? Like if, something happens, like a crazy storm knocks out your power, what are you going to do? If you lose a certain thing, what are you going to do? So everybody should have a plan. I guess like me and AJ, we have our animals are in the basement, so it's very temperature controlled. Our temp flux, like let's say, knock on wood, if power goes out and my HVAC goes out in the middle of summer, my temperatures aren't gonna go above 80, really,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just in the basement. My basement is 70% underground,
Yeah. And what you need to do, so like I'm moving out of the basement, right, Brian? But the answer for me is going to be oversize my HVAC systems and have 2 so that I have a backup, and then have a whole house generator that will power if my house loses power. So you have 2 units, both big enough to cool the space or heat the space independently of one another. So if one goes down, the other one still runs. So that's kind of like the best case scenario. You're just dropping like $20,000+ on it. So
if it's an investment, but you got to job, I think it's worth it, right?
You got to protect your investment.
Yeah, for sure. Man, that was a good point. Did you see somebody had a point with the Wilbanks? The only way to get them is get them freighted, and freight shipping is like $300-$400.
Holy crap! So you're looking at $1,500 close to. By the time
they said the cheapest one shipped is like $1,300.
This one is the cheapest one. It's $1,000, $995.
Wow!
How many 7 trays?
7 trays.
That's not enough.
Not enough for AJ. It's enough for me.
That's not enough.
7 trays.
Yeah, no, I can't get myself to throw down. I'm gonna go buy a $50, or even if I want to splurge, I'll buy a $100 Yeti and.
That thing will keep ice for a week. It can keep your geckos safe for your geckos.
Oh yeah, bro.
Everybody go buy the Yeti.
That Yeti cooler.
Yeah, the majority of breeders are gonna be like they can't afford that stuff.
And how many people are gonna have more than 2 or 3 trays of eggs?
Exactly. Yeah, that is true. This is true. This is good. I would think the room you keep your geckos in would be good to incubate the eggs too. No, because that's possible, but I think
it depends.
My room is a little bit higher than I'd like in terms of for the eggs. This is why I moved my eggs out downstairs.
I have my eggs in a room that has. I have a couple different gecko rooms, but I have a room that stays more like 72, 73, and that's where the eggs are. I don't put them in the room that is like the hatchling room that I heat up to 77.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, mine is in a closet.
Yeah. Here's a question. This one. It looks like Andrew is dying to ask. Back to Cap Frap. If you're not 100% sure what you have or not from proven lines, how are you okay selling offspring as a for sure thing? Because he's talking about how you prove them out. He doesn't think proving them out through lily whites is a bulletproof way, right?
I mean, I feel like if you have like at all of a trained eye, you can tell pretty easily. So if you don't know, I'm not saying this to Andrew, but anybody, like if you don't know, I would say just look at more examples and do your homework and look at a lot of fraps, and then they're pretty obvious.
I mean, even Janine will sometimes sell. I remember last year when she sells their darks, right? She's selling dark phantom caps and just dark phantoms, and some of them she would say with a certain probability this may not be a cap, and so you can't fully tell.
Those are the hardest ones.
Those are hard to tell.
Charcoals or dark phantoms. Correct. Those as caps, those are the hardest ones to identify because they
even then begin to develop an eye where she with more certainty she's like, okay, yeah, this is a cap, right? And so back to your point, AJ, just looking at examples, experience, developing an eye for it, I guess. But I guess not everybody has that. So
I also, for me, I sold a cap and I gave a guarantee that it would be a cap. So I said. I sold it to the person I sold it to. I said, if it does not prove out to cap, I'll refund your money. So, but it's proven. I mean, it's proven lines. Even though, like, I'm 100% sure that it's cap. So, I had no doubt at all. So I didn't mind giving that guarantee to him. And he's a local guy, so it's easier for me to like. If it wasn't a cap, I'll replace it. But I'm pretty sure that it's never gonna be a problem for me.
Yeah, that's good. I'm just looking through some of these comments. Patrick's gonna save me a styrofoam cooler. I actually have one. I'm good. I just wanna an excuse to buy a nice cooler.
Yeah, I'd probably invest in a nicer cooler than a
one that's like
styrofoam
super
one.
insulated. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Yeti ones are over $100, aren't they? They're like
expensive. I
$500.
can get a small
they're
one.
like $200-$300.
This season I've only had
They're
one tray.
nice.
I've only had one tray, and I just like put a bunch of eggs together. You know how sometimes people put one egg per square? I'm like, nah, man. I learned from AJ maybe. 4 eggs.
I had least. Well, no. I mean, maybe if they're from the same pair.
I did too.
Yeah.
I do too if I don't have like the same pair like around the same time.
So what I do is like from the same pairing, they go by months. They lay by months, right? And so there's I put 7 on one, 8 on one, like July and August, and then obviously the earlier one's gonna pop first, right? So that's how I keep track. Yeah. So.
Okay.
If I did one per square, you know how many boxes? How many boxes I would have to buy?
That's the play we need to do, Brian. When people are like, we're like flexing on people. Like, look at how many I've got 120 egg containers.
Yeah.
People, like
it's one egg per square.
I had to put a AC unit in a spare bedroom as an incubator. The entire room is full. 1 egg per compartment.
Yeah. Sarah also suggests with your heat gun to temp around different rooms. That's a good point. I think that's a good takeaway from today. Like just finding a cool spot in your house and finding a cooler. That's a good tip. Lots of good learning. What else we got? Other topics we want to talk about? There's more. I'm just looking through some comments, but we
have a bunch of submitted questions too.
Yes, we do. Is it Kelsey or Chelsea? Kelsey.
Kelsey.
What's up, Kelsey? Yeah, we've seen Kelsey. If you can only choose one to add to your collection, Cap versus Exantic, which would you choose and why? Probably Cap. Is cheaper. Yeah.
I wouldn't even say price. I just say I feel like
Cap, right?
Yeah, Exanthic is just like there's nothing you can do for color. I mean, color. You can improve pattern and improve structure, but you can't really do anything with color. So your limit, like Cap, you can do color, structure.
You can do tries.
You can do, and then you can combo it and like just Exanthic, I just feel like is missing that one. It's really cool because it's missing that piece of color that you can change, but it's also not cool. If the price was equal, I feel like there's more work to be done with Cap.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and we all have both. So Cap's
also being an incomplete dominant gene, it's easier to
work projects. Yeah,
to cross them in with other genetics. I mean, Exanthic is fun. You just need to take a little longer route. It'll take like extra generation of breeding to get where you want to be.
It will take you quite a while, but that's a good. Yeah, Exanthic I would say is more of like a long-term fun project that you can do and work on and improve on. But it will take you will need patience with Exantics. Caps you're just breeding.
I mean, look at like the Cap Reds, man. They look cool.
Super cool. Yeah.
But
EJ's
so
red.
They're
cap,
they got like this rusty
Ralph's
brown look to it. It's kind
of they're like an interesting color of red. Yeah, they're very interesting.
Yeah, I'll pull that up. But here's another question for you guys: size or age? What shows pores first? Depends. I think
age.
Yeah. Can you be more specific, AJ, for those that don't know?
So if you raise a gecko really, really fast, right? So if you feed an animal tons of crickets, raise it in a high temp environment, you can get an animal to probably 15 grams without it showing pores. But if you grow a gecko at 70 degrees, you never feed it crickets, you could have a gecko that's 2.5 grams and show pores. So I think it's more tied to age, it's more tied to age than it is tied to size. Because people that grow animals quickly can get animals that are 8-10 grams and pop pores on you versus animals that are smaller or people that don't feed as many bugs. A lot of times their stuff pops pores really soon or really small animals will pop pores versus people that feed a lot of bugs and have higher temps. Their larger animals will pop pores. So, yeah. I don't know, Brian. You think the same way?
I agree too.
More tied to age.
Yeah, because it's not. It goes based on maturity and not size. It's like you gotta think about it. Like humans, it goes by your age. If you have a big kid, a kid could be big but not be mature. You know.
Yeah.
So it's just. Yep. I feel like it's just anything. Most of any animals. Nothing. It's always time and age to mature in terms of anything with, I guess, sexuality type things. You know. So
yeah. How do you think this one's Vicente? How do you think caps will work with the tangerine gene? They'll make it more orange?
I really don't. I'm really not versed in tangerine, to be completely honest. I haven't really done my homework on it.
Yeah. How does the tangerine gene work? Yeah. Do you have any tangerines, Brian? Tangerine type stuff?
I mean, I think everybody has tangerines.
It's just really hard for me as a colorblind person to really identify tangerine, to tell you the truth. Like, it's like people when I see posts like, oh, look at this tangerine, I'm like, yeah, that looks yellow to me.
Yeah.
So it's not good for me.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's
why it's hard for me. This is why I work with darks, man. I work with darks because I can see it.
Yeah, pick what you can see, I guess.
Yeah. Darks and whites. Can you ship geckos in small Yetis instead of styrofoam?
That'd be expensive.
We'll take it.
Yeah,
we'll buy your geckos.
My shipping cost is now $250. I'll ship it.
Hey guys, yeah, our shipping's really expensive. Sorry.
shipping went up.
It's a 7-inch cube, but it's $300 for the box. It's a Yeti cooler though, so you get to keep it.
Yeah. Have you ever had an issue with male fertility? I feel like it's often talked about how females have issues, but not males with issues. There have been talks about that.
Personally, I have not. I've heard a bunch of stories of sterile males, especially within the xanthic gene. So it happens. It's not that it doesn't happen. I haven't had any of that personally with any of my animals in this collection now. I've had it with other reptiles, but not in crested geckos.
Yeah. I mean, not really. Like, I haven't seen infertile males. I mean, I've seen males that are reluctant to breed because they're afraid or fearful animals in general, but I haven't seen just fertility issues from a male crested gecko.
And you've been doing this for 20 years, and
yeah,
you never had it happen.
It's not like, man, I've never gotten this male to prove out. I don't see that. The only reason I'd ever see that, like I have an animal, for example, I have an animal that he's always been small. He's tailless. He's 32 grams. The thing is just a total spaz. He's got no fat on his body. He's just so spastic. You open the cage, he shoots out. He's just a total psychopath. And for the first 6 months of him being kind of cycled through a couple females, no good eggs. And I'm maybe this is the one. And then sure enough, started getting fertile eggs. But the thing still is just, I think he's just so skittish and just so he's just tweaking all the time that he, those males don't breed as well. Normally those males have a little bit calmer demeanor, do better.
Like that super stripe that you got, that Chad's super stripe.
Yeah, from Scott to Chad to me.
That crazy gecko.
That's not the gecko I'm talking about. You know what? Scott calls him Skid Mark is his name.
That striped one?
Because of the stripe down his back. Yeah, Skid Mark is his name.
That's actually a really good name for that animal.
That's not true. Take that comment down. None of mine are crazy.
No crazy animals, all right, Jason. Except some of the They're all crazy.
Skid Mark.
Yeah, Skid Mark. Like Volante, so chill. Here's one. How do you regularly sell during a struggling market? I'm increasing my geckos as more and more hatch, but can't move what I have. Feeling slight anxiety as I have a full-time other job. Basically, a lot more eggs than anticipated and being unable to move animals. How can you find an outlet? You have to be creative there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays you have to think about like you have to create good environments for your customers to buy in. So whether that's, you know, are you grinding? Are you going to shows? If that's a good market for you to sell in, are you going to shows? Are you doing, you know, are you going live on Instagram? Are you showing your animals? Are you consistently posting? Like all that stuff plays into it. I feel like we're gone. The days are gone of being able to just like blindly post on Morph Market and sell. Like that's not going to happen. But that's not how any other market works. If you think about the products and services that we buy, they're marketed to you. There's, you know, content about them. You know, if you don't know about the breeder, the animals they're breeding to produce the offspring, all that different stuff, then it's really hard to sell animals if you're not going to do that work to make your customer confident in buying from you. So that's number one thing you have to start is there. You have to start with being producing good animals, being out there and people knowing about you, knowing about your animals, knowing where to buy your animals, how to, and then being a good salesperson. You got to be able to close the deal too. So
yeah, don't be mean.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna. I will never buy from a mean person.
Yeah,
that sounds like a really obvious thing to say.
Customer service.
Yeah. You'll be surprised how many people are so dismissive that I've messaged and DM. And I'm not mean either. I say, hey, my name is Harry. Good to meet you. And then they're like super dismissive. I'm never buying from this person ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm sure Brian, you'd agree with this, but like, this is a pretty tight knit community. So like sometimes you kind of have to like, you don't view it as this, but like you have to be friends with people. Like friends are going to buy from you. And so you have 100%. To be like, you have to have friends in the hobby and you have to be a friendly person.
That's Rainy Day Gecko.
Often people don't buy from strangers.
She has really nice animals.
She has good.
She does have nice animals.
Yeah. Sarah. Rainy Day Geckos. I see your animals, and I really like them.
Awesome.
Yeah, very nice chewies. Yeah, sorry, AJ, you were
saying.
I don't know. What do you guys think of what I said? I feel like it's just you have to think about it like selling any other product except for geckos are a little bit more personal, right?
Mm-hmm. So I agree with you on everything. Market yourself. You market yourself. You gotta have really nice animals, which she has already. So it's not her animals that is the
problem.
Yeah. She needs to be at. You have to put yourself out there. You have to, like me. For me, what I've started doing is now I started my reels where I am putting myself in front of a camera. And it kind of gives that personal feeling with the viewer, right? Mm-hmm. My followers, the people who follow you, the people that follow the Gecko Pod, everybody's drawn and has a personal connection. So I try to gain that personal connection with everybody because it's just my personality. I like to be social. I like to engage. So if you can put yourself out, you just need to put yourself out there so people can know. I like Rainy Day Geckos. I didn't know her name was Sarah because I've never talked to her or met her. So I know your animals because I've seen them on Morph Market, and that's the only way you are marketing now. If you're not putting yourself out there and talking to people, engaging in conversations with other people, then people don't know who you are. Right. You in today's environment, we are in a time of social media. Social media is everything. Social media is what puts your name out. And the people who just think, all right, I'm just going to post my animals. Like you said, the times of just posting your animals on Morph Market and selling everything out is over. pretty much. I mean, you'll still make sales.
That was a COVID thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless, you're putting your animals out there, you're going to make sales. But you're not going to make the same amount of sales that you want. You just really need to like engage and put yourself out there. I think social media is the best because it's free marketing. So that's the best thing. Other than that, there's really, and like you said, go to shows, vend shows. But she stated that her local shows, nobody buys Kahuas. So
well, a lot of local shows are pretty bad right now, if I'm completely honest. I think that we're moving, like this day and age, people buy online. You know, I think that local shows have been kind of heading the direction of it's just kind of a place you go to buy feeders, buy supplies, maybe go and kind of browse and see if something catches your eye. But most people aren't like, oh man, I'm going to save for 6 months for my local show. People are sitting at home in their bed looking at Morph Market, you know, or they're looking they're looking at Instagram. Like they're not sitting around like, man, I'm really saving up for in 6 months. I'm going to go to the show and I'm going to buy a gecko.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I also think though, the local shows, I mean, people go to local shows and typically bring the stuff they want to get rid of, and they hold back all the nice stuff, right? And so if people brought nicer stuff to the shows, that might help. But usually the crowd is more pet people, and so it makes sense that the local shows aren't going to have the best stuff, you know.
And so, the good buyers, like the high end buyers, they don't go to local shows because they never find anything they want at local shows.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Because people don't bring high end stuff to local shows because it doesn't sell. Because it doesn't sell there. It's like this sick circle.
Yep.
So, I mean, apart from like Tinley, Daytona, you know, the super shows, Flora Fauna, NARBC shows in general, like you probably aren't going to see like a whole ton of high end. So, yeah.
I mean, has it always been like that, AJ, in your decade of over a decade of shows and whatnot?
Like you'll occasionally, I feel like the thing that will random sell is like lychees or like nicer lily whites are bigger, and down the line maybe that's xanthics that are bigger or whatever. Those are kind of like the real flashy things will occasionally sell in that higher price bracket, but like, you know, the high end stuff, like if I bring like a frost line animal that's nice to, you know, the Raleigh Repticon, it's not going to sell because the buyer that buys that gecko isn't there. So it's not that like I'm too expensive or any of that. I think it's just that the right person has to be in that room, and a lot of times they're not coming to those shows because they're gonna go to Tinley, they're gonna go to, you know, wherever wherever that show is, Flora Fauna. They're like gearing up for that show. So I guess just know what the strengths of your local shows are. So at your local shows, bring those, you know, 250 and under animals. Make sure you have supplies. Make sure you might, you know, if you want to bring like 8 to 10 high end animals, just as like a reference point where like this is real expensive high end stuff, and then here's more accessible stuff. It might make people feel a little bit better about like the value they're getting for that step down. So that's really the only reason I bring high end. I'll bring like a $3,000 gecko to a local show where no one will buy it, just so that I can show them
the differences.
Like I can show them the difference of like, you know, this is kind of where you can go next steps if you want to like, you know, buy some nicer animals.
You know, that's a great point, because when we were at Anaheim, AJ, then we were at the table together. People would ask, they would see your animal. They saw a frostline animal. It's like $3,000, and then look at like some stuff, other stuff that we have, maybe some my stuff or your stuff that are lower end, $100, whatever. Like, how come this is more expensive than this? And I'm like, well, think about it like breeding stock, right? You know, if you're breeding horses, you're breeding dogs, you want the best breeders, and in that, when you do that, it kind of teaches them that, okay, it's not just buy the cheapest thing there is possible. You're teaching them that if eventually you get into breeding, you have this stock that you want to aim towards, that is going to be higher end. And so I feel like it is a great place to teach even pet owners and eventual breeders what to do when you bring nice animals to the shows.
Yeah, it's a teaching moment for sure, like you're saying, because you always get that question when it's like, why is this one $3,000, $2,000, and this one's $200? And it's like, well, this $3,000 gecko, no one's going to buy it as a pet. Like that is not why it's here. Like the only person that's going to buy that is somebody like me. You know, somebody at the same kind of level as me is going to buy this because they have a project and it's using animals like this. And these animals are very hard to make, very hard to find. So that's why they're expensive, is just they're rare. You know, they're hard to make. Yeah. So can I make 1 million of these things? No. That's why there's scarcity and they're expensive, you know. So
for me, I also with the shows, it's good. You got to sell yourself. You're selling your brand, your name, your business, right? Sure. So you got to talk to them. So I'm sure in the past, AJ, I'm sure you've sold geckos to people. Like I've had it where I sold geckos to people at a show, and they spent like $150, you know, buying a lower end pet animal.
But then they come back.
But they come back. They contact you. They'll message me.
Step it up. So
I'll tell you, like, this has recently happened with me with some local guys that were just buying, like, all right, I was like, hey, listen, I'm looking for a pet. And immediately I just go to like my lower end animals because they don't really care. They just wanted the pet. So I show them, hey, listen, this is what I have available and this is the price. And they're like, oh, great. And then I'll bring them an animal and they're like, oh man, this is so nice. You know, like I love this animal. And then I'll talk to them like, hey, listen, if I wanted to breed this animal, like what would I do? What do you think? And I was like, here, and I'll put them into directions. I'll send them to the Gecko Pod to watch the Gecko Pod. I'll send them videos and stuff like steps to do it. And I'll go out of the way. And then they'll come back to me and then then they want to step up. They're like, oh, you know what? I want a nicer animal. And then they'll buy the nicer animal. And then before you know it, they're spending like $500 to $1,000.
Yeah.
So don't be shy. Don't treat every customer exactly the same.
Exactly.
If they're buying $100 animal or a $5,000 animal, they should be exactly the same.
Because the reality is, I remember a friend of mine telling me this story. It's very, I won't try to give away too much detail, but they had a customer that they had somebody that I think they had reached out to them like, hey, I'm just looking for like a pet only animal. And they bought like a gargoyle that had like a kinked back or something. It was like a pet only animal, literally like, here, take it for free or something kind of a thing. And that person went on to buy like over the next 2 years by like $20,000 worth of animals.
That's crazy.
And it started with just like a conversation and like, you know, a pet for somebody that was interested. And so you have to treat, and I know we've talked about this before, but you have to treat everybody with respect, everybody with, you know, dignity, and like anybody could be like your next best customer. And I mean, you do have to like whatever you have to do to reach the people that would be interested in your animals, do it. And everybody has like Brian, your strength, like you're developing your strength of doing like live video, right? And obviously us three are comfortable on camera and like doing video stuff. Maybe some people aren't comfortable with that, but maybe they are comfortable with like doing, like making a video where they're not on camera and doing voiceovers. Like there's, you know, how many people are popular from doing that? Like there's tons of people like that, or from even people that
faces though.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously ideal because people like that personal connection, but like whatever your strength is, like lean into it. Right. And it's, you know, everybody's different. So
I agree. Not everyone's made for public camera. I mean, there's a ton of introverts, and not saying I'm an introvert. It doesn't mean that introverts can't do this stuff, but there's a lot of people that are really shy that don't want to be in front of people, and that's okay. You don't have to do that. You can find different ways to market. You can find different ways to post. You can do blogs. There's so many different things that you can do to kind of stand out. It's just a matter of developing those certain skills and not being like completely cringy.
It's doable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I used to hate cameras. I used to hate speaking publicly. Like I couldn't do any of that. And then I became an instructor, a teacher, and I kind of had to like suck it up and do it. So I started doing like classes and getting in front. Man, I remember the first presentation I had to do. I probably one of the reasons why I dropped out of high school was because I didn't want to. I hated doing that. So I went and
I'm like that
this,
too.
I went to this class and I was doing this instructor development course and just practicing and practicing. And I remember giving not the one in the course, but my first group class that I had to teach. Oh man. Like I was sweating. I felt like I was gonna pass out. I was stuttering. I was and then just over time, I just got better and better, and it kind of felt a lot easier after doing it multiple times. So you just gotta get through the beginning stages, and then you get so much better at it.
Yeah. I agree.
100%.
Yeah. How long were y'all breeding before y'all started vending shows? Pretty soon after.
Maybe like 2 years.
2 years? 1 year?
Oh man, I think my
1.5 years.
Maybe like a year or two.
I produced my first bearded dragon eggs, and then that same year, that first year,
I didn't wait a year either. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna, back then it was like, man, I could sell back in 2006 or 2007, it was like I could bring all these geckos to shows and I'd sell all of them.
Yeah, because
so like, nobody had them. So
what was our? We didn't really have many outlets like back then.
Fauna, king snake,
and for me, I wasn't selling on there till after 2000. I don't think they like king snake was around, but like really like earlier 2000s. But before, like it was like I didn't know how to ship animals back then. You were shipping it through. There wasn't no FedEx next day delivery.
No, yeah.
So I was like reptile shows and
well, that's why shows used to be so much bigger, right? And such a big deal. Like you'd go to Tinley. Like I remember going to Tinley and like it was not uncommon to sell 75 animals like on a Friday. That was like that was like not uncommon. Granted, the prices were a lot lower back then. So, it sounds really impressive, but like the prices were a lot lower just across the board. But like back then, I remember I've said this to Harry, but I think I've said this to you, Brian. I remember when Facebook groups first came out, people got really mad that people like there was an NARBC, a Tinley Park Facebook page, and vendors were getting angry that other vendors were posting what animals they were gonna bring to the show in that group, and that people were pre-buying, right?
Yeah.
Pre-buying for delivery for the show because they felt like, who are you? Like people come to the show to shop, like, and you're just like sucking the sales out of the show. And this was, now people can shop any day of the week from their phone, laying in bed on Morph Market or, on Instagram stories or whatever it is. But back in the day, it was like you had to come to the show and you had to like buy that VIP pass and know what table you were going to go hit. Like that was how you got animals. And to a point, it still is for certain things. But that's less of the culture now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Here's a question. This is from Instagram. When an offspring outproduces the parent, which holdback do you choose, male or female?
Both.
One of each.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 females and a male. Because I want to take a female and I want to outcross it. I want to take a male and I want to be able to spread the genetics into a different line. Or,
got it.
Potentially replace the original male. I won't do it the first year. I'll normally breed them both the next year and then compare. And then if the new male does outproduce the old male, then he can sell.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of people will pre-sell the male, the father.
That's right. They're like, I have a good job offspring, and then they'll sell it out. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, you see that happening all the time. And then the offspring, even though it visually looks better, produces worse than the father did. So it's dangerous. Dangerous to do that for the quick money grab.
Yes. Why am I getting year-old geckos weighing in at 3 to 4 grams?
Why am I getting year-old geckos?
It's a question from.
Yeah, I mean, let's roundtable this. Brian, why don't you talk about?
Wait, hold on. Before you guys start, a very similar. Why do I sometimes get geckos that have been held for months with breeder that are like 4 grams at most? Do breeders not feed sold geckos as much as their keepers? So basically the same question in terms of why are geckos so small when you get them and they're about a year old?
A year old 4 grams is nuts.
That's crazy. I mean, is that an exaggeration?
That's I don't even.
Yes, let me pull an animal.
Is that even possible at that point? Because 3 to 4 grams.
I mean, that's like twice the size they hatch at.
What are you feeding it once a month?
I don't know.
There's no way. But anyway, back to the question: do breeders feed less when they sold an animal? For me, no. My geckos are fed exactly the same all around. So
yeah,
because it actually, me skipping over the sold ones, like even though like I'll have a sold section, like it really doesn't take more or less effort for me to go clean those, feed those less,
Yeah.
It really is the same thing. It doesn't cost me much more. It's pennies.
I'd say the only difference for me.
That's 1 year old.
No. This is 10 grams. This is 10 grams.
Okay.
Hatched in May.
That's beautiful, bro. You produced this one, right?
May 23rd. I produced this one. May 23rd. Beautiful. This is 10 grams.
Nice.
So you're killing it. So see, this is the crazy benefit of where you're at. So no, I just wanna put this out that to everybody that's watching. If you ever wanna mirror new breeders, follow Harry, because he did. He legit.
He took the advice of good people.
I'm listening to you guys.
And look at what he's produced in his first real year.
Yeah,
this is insane. It's beautiful, man. That's a great animal,
and that's a big animal for being born in May. So that's awesome.
Yep.
May 23rd is the hatch date of this thing, and it's at 10 grams. So if your animal is 4 grams and it's a year old, something is way off.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not power feeding it.
Yeah, nope. I'm just giving it crickets twice a week.
I love to power feed.
You love to
power feed.
You have to
power feed.
Throw crickets down their throats.
Yeah.
Oh no, you feed your animal insects 3 times a week. You're power feeding it.
Power feed.
The only way you would be power feeding is if you took a dubia roach that is double the size of the gecko's head,
dip it in diet, and jam it down their throat.
Bring up the video, Harry.
Oh, no.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get beat up.
Things gagging on a dubia.
It's the gak.
It's funny. So to answer the question, I'll also answer this. So the ones that I sell, one difference in the animals that I am raising and the animals that I've sold is they're in 2 different rooms that are different temperatures. So that's one difference. I do think that mine that are sold that are awaiting shipment do grow a little slower. The feeding is the same, but there's about a 5 degree temp difference in my rooms.
Mm.
But I don't have any problem with that. So it's like they're 72 instead of 77, but they get fed the same.
Yeah.
And they still are eating crickets twice a week. So
yeah, feed bugs. Yeah. So I mean, people that if your animals like that, I feel like it's kind of after seeing so many animals, even as a new breeder, and buying so many animals from a lot of different breeders, you can tell some feed bugs and some don't. Like after a while, you just be like, wow, like
that one didn't eat bugs, or that one did.
That one did not grow up on bugs.
I mean, you can just learn to look at animals that are for sale, animals that are on a table, and you can be like, that thing does not eat bugs, or it does. Like it's pretty easy to tell.
Yeah,
based on how an animal looks. So
I agree. So yeah, I mean, it's more common than not to just feed them diet and they grow a little bit slower. And I don't know,
a lot slower. They grow at like
is it
a third or a quarter of the rate.
okay? But would you say that it's wrong?
I
What?
would.
Okay.
No bugs.
Yeah.
I'd say it's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Or is it just a preferential thing?
In the past, I would have maybe not said that, but now I'm pretty convicted that feeding no bugs is wrong. I'd say it's wrong.
Okay. Yeah. I'm
To juveniles, I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would. I'm not all the way there yet. To me, it seems more like a preferential thing. Like it seems like there's so many people that don't feed a lot of bugs, and I wouldn't do that, but I'm like, maybe that's just how they've been doing it. There are a lot more experienced breeders than myself that have done that, and so I'm thinking like, I mean, they've done well, so maybe I just don't know enough besides talking to you guys. Obviously, you guys feed bugs, and now I do, and so, gotcha. Yeah, just wondering.
Big difference, right? Since you
Yeah.
really shifted to giving the crickets and stuff, right? More often.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just feel like the animals look so much healthier,
They do. And the colors are better, they're more vibrant, they're healthier, they're stronger.
Yeah.
They can handle like shipment a lot better going to shows. I mean, they're just
1 year.
It's beautiful.
She's 1 year old and
45 grams.
45 grams.
Yeah. Wow. 45 grams.
I hatched her last year.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Here, let me pull an animal too while we're pulling animals.
Right? Oh, you jumpies.
These things, my animals are being absolute psychopaths, so I don't know if I want to pull them.
Did you pull out skid mark? Oh yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's a better picture. What do you guys think about this one?
I love it. It's beautiful.
Tricolor. Tri-lily.
Yeah.
So this Xanthic is about 46 grams now, and I think it's a year or under a year. It's just about a year old.
Oh yeah,
I'll try to show an animal.
That's the male, right?
This one's a female. Yeah.
Oh, female. She looks great, man.
Yeah. She ate dubias pretty well.
In this.
Did a great job.
This animal. Let's see if I can cover my face.
Yeah, that's how you get it to focus.
I don't know if I'll get it where I'm at.
Just bring it closer to the lens and then block your face.
Okay, I'll pull you up, AJ.
There you go. Focused good. There you go. Frost line, bro. That thing is sick. Oh.
Frosty.
So there you go. That's a frost line animal. That's a male. That's like more of a tricolor one.
Yeah.
Like,
that's nice, man.
You can see it, but
yeah,
it's a real nice one. But yeah, I mean, these are animals that eat bugs, right? This animal like just crossed a year old.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And it's ready to breed.
Ricky says, "What's up, guys?"
What's up, Ricky?
People talk about
thanks for cat haters, man.
Hey, Ricky.
People talk about high whites. Here you go.
I'm gonna see Ricky on when am I gonna see Ricky? Sunday. Oh wow, look at that one.
Yeah, that thing is so covered.
Oh gosh, let me see if I can get it.
Yeah, Ricky, you missed the cap section. We're loving our caps.
Oh yeah, you missed the.
So this is not a lily white. Everybody that asks. Here you go.
Mine's not. I produced this one last year too.
Nice.
That one, yours is full covered, man. That's sick.
So.
You freeze a little bit.
There you go. Live crickets versus cricket powder. Live crickets.
This one's about a year old too. I produced last year.
Where do you guys get all?
I buy mine from Gans.
So
I buy my crickets from Gans. I bought them from other people in the past. It doesn't really matter as long as you find someone that is like local enough to you that your crickets survive shipments. That's what matters. Because like when I lived in Illinois, I bought my crickets from Indiana. When I live now that I live in North Carolina, I buy my crickets from Georgia. So I would buy from a similar climate, because if you say like I bought from Florida and they shipped them to Illinois, like all of them die because they come from a hot, humid environment to a cold and dry environment. They just all die.
Where's Josh's frogs from?
Michigan.
Okay, well I ordered from Josh's frogs
too.
I ordered from Josh's frogs out to California, and I go to Josh's frogs because they've always survived. They survive. They come here, and then for the next 2-3 weeks, I'm still kind of feeding them off, and so they've been good. But rainbow mealworms from California, I haven't had as much luck. I get a lot
super
of
expensive.
They're super expensive, and they all man, they die like within like a few days. And so I'm
it's so funny because
I've ordered maybe like 3 times with them. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. So Josh's Frogs has been really good about
rainbow mealworms has been established for over 20 years.
Yeah,
well over 20 years.
Yeah,
and because I remember them back before, and they were like the company to buy any kind of insects, and I haven't heard many good things about them. I order mine from crickets from 3 places. Josh's Frogs I just got turned on to from you and Chad.
Yeah,
and I did 2 orders, but now I have a wholesale account with them, so it comes out pretty cheap. So I like that. You know, when you order 3/4 from there, they overpack the 3/4.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot, like 500 over the 1,000. They give you like 1,500.
You know what drives me crazy? When I go to the pet shops and I say, "Hey, can I have like 100 crickets?" They literally count out 100 crickets. Like, you guys are freaking killing me, man.
Just shake the tube in. Come on.
Yeah, dude. And so if there's over 100, they count it. You know, like through the bag. If
they empty it back in.
I'm like, you freaking kidding me? Like, get out of here.
They'll take 5 crickets out of the bag. Like, oh, you got 105.
Killing me, man. Like,
you got 105 crickets.
I'm just spending $20 on this small bag of crickets, and you're like nitpicking that. I'm killing me. Anyway,
yeah,
that's funny.
So I use that High Point Cricket Farm and Suriname Cricket Farms. High Point is in Pennsylvania and Suriname's in Jersey.
Yeah.
So I like to alternate between the 3. What is that?
It's a sable lily white.
Oh shit! Oh my god! It looks better than the last time we saw it, bro. The white spread
so crazy.
Even spread even more.
Yeah, it's
crazy, so crazy. It's so covered.
That's so crazy.
What's is that? Is that 30 grams by now? Huh? It looks like it's
30. Yeah, 30.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's beautiful.
The white stuff. It's cool.
It's very cool. What age are you starting babies on bugs? How soon do you guys feed them?
Week 2, week 1, week 2, for me.
Oh wow!
You feed a quarter, half inch.
I start my quarters.
I go once they eat diet, and then I'll do it. The first time I see that they eat diet, I'll give them crickets.
A week or 2 in,
yeah.
That's good. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, as soon as they'll take it.
Yeah, Ricky says a lot of trouble keeping crickets alive. Yeah, that's true. Me too. Yeah, I think
tough.
a good amount of people do. Brian's good with them. Huh?
I've just figured it out now, but finally.
Yeah, secrets.
I think everybody's context of like where they live and
Did the fan help? By the way, the fan
was it.
Fan
helps a lot.
Yeah.
See, that's
helps a lot, dude.
So that's what I've been doing. I have that fan that's on the ceiling that just blows on, right? Not on top of it like the way you had it. Mine was above it, like the whole section. But yeah, I think ventilation is probably your best thing for
ventilation and airflow, and also temperature. They need to be relatively warm.
So when I went to
no heat lamps though. Sorry, Brian. No heat lamps.
I give mine.
No, he does. He gives.
Okay. Sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
So when I went to Suriname Farms, the cricket farm, and I was, he showed me around. He has like these huge fans of exhaust fans just exchanging air, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because I was like, oh man, this place, like you could smell the crickets from outside. I was like, oh man, it's disgusting. I feel bad for anybody that's around. But he was in an industrial area.
Yeah.
But he just has a lot of air exchange, and that's probably your main best thing to keep crickets alive. Air exchange and keep them warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AJ, how much does a male like that go for? Not for
sale.
I haven't sold one.
So
I don't know.
Frosty
I haven't sold one that nice.
Yeah, that is a very nice one.
I don't know.
So we don't know.
Yeah,
it's an unknown number.
Crazy. That thing's fully covered, bro.
Do you notice do you all notice a challenge in getting male caps over like 32 grams? No.
I don't know. Ask Ricky Swan.
Ricky might know, huh? Ricky in the chat.
I-
Here you go. He
I
said
have
this.
Ask the
haven't
Rickies
had
in the
trouble with
chat.
Oh wait, never mind. He's talking about crickets,
Oh,
not geckos. I have trouble keeping them alive.
Ricky has trouble keeping the caps alive. No.
Are those coming to Tinley, AJ? No. Huh?
No, not those. I mean, those are my breeders. But
if you want to
future
offer
breeders.
50, if you want to offer 50K, I mean, they'll talk.
Powder. Oh, did you guys talk about powder insects versus live?
I said I don't prefer. I don't.
It's not
I
as
don't
nutritious,
use them.
right?
I don't buy it. I mean, if it's in the prepared diets, sure, but I'm not like I think I don't know. I mean, we've talked about this before on the show, but they're like if you feed a gecko diet on Monday and you offer it diet again on Tuesday, it's not going to eat it. If you offer it diet on Monday and it stuffs itself and you offer it a cricket feeding, it will still eat crickets. Yeah, so there's obviously a difference between like a liquid prepared diet, even one with bugs mixed in, and a live insect feeding. Like there is something about like the movement of bugs and like it triggers their hunting instincts. So I don't think it's the same at all. Not saying it's bad, but it's not a replacement. Yeah, Top Hat. I had gotten from Top Hat. I had gotten from Top Hat before in the past.
Are they're pretty comparable price wise?
I haven't bought from them in a long time.
Okay, Josh's frogs.
That means no.
They didn't. I stopped using them because it wasn't price comparable, but that was over 10 years ago. So I don't know anymore.
What's
Ovipost? Yeah, I had met those people in Atlanta. I think they were nice. Yeah,
gotcha,
that cricket company. They're cool.
Chain pet stores charge like 50 cents a cricket. It's 15.
I know, it's crazy.
It's 15 to 17 cents. Petco is 17 cents per cricket.
Which is so crazy. 17 cents. That's literally like what a deli cup costs.
Dude, it would pain me to do it, but I would do it just to feed like some of my geckos.
I sell my crickets at I sell a nickel a cricket.
I should buy them from you, man. You buy them and then I'll buy them from you.
What do you mean, man? You get it cheaper buying by the thousand.
You're going to get them shipped to Brian, and then Brian's going to count them out in the little bag. He's going to hold it up. He's going to pull them out.
Exactly 100. I'll give you 102 just in case.
Oh, man, that's so generous.
He's going to sell you 100 crickets for $5, but then you got to pay $100 shipping to California. So.
Only if it's live guaranteed, live arrival.
Yeah, AJ definitely has the best sable. Lily
to be
white
fair, there's some pretty nice
world.
sable lily whites that I've seen in Korea.
There's some really nice ones. I don't know if I have the nicest one. I like mine, but
yours is very nice, AJ.
I don't know if it's the top one.
AJ's just being humble right now.
AJ, you and the Koreans can fight. You can fight.
He's being humble, but come on. We know.
It's my favorite, but I'm biased.
Korea number 2.
Korea number 2.
Number 2. And by the way, what's a chocho?
Oh yeah, that's what everybody's here for. What's a chocho?
What is a chocho? Hey, let me pull it up while you guys talk about chocho.
We'll
just talk about it a couple minutes.
I'm gonna let AJ lead this.
I don't know.
In the meantime, I'm gonna show you a hybrid.
We totally clickbaited people telling them that we knew what a chocho was now. Newsflash, we don't.
All right,
newsflash, we don't.
Here's what we know.
A chocho.
Yeah, this is what we hear from somebody. It could be it's recessive, possibly, and it's not derived from a cap. Those are two things I know, even though it looks capish. Oh, nice hybrid.
Oh wow, yours developed pretty nice.
There you go. Hybrid gang.
Hybrid gang.
We just showed you guys chochos on the camera right there.
Here, double. This is Cho, and this is Cho.
Dude, you get to. Are they both males?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so pretty. I love them.
Yeah, I like that orangey one, man.
Cho.
So bright.
Cho. One's orange and the other one's yellowish.
I think mine is sibling to yours, my orange one.
This one would probably be your sibling.
Okay. Dude, I like that pattern.
That's awesome.
It looks pretty.
And then this one's probably AJ's sibling.
I like it.
Have you all used red runners instead of crickets? No, we had
an
episode about that a few times where the red runners are Kind of gross.
sketchy and gross. No, thank you. I'll just pay for the crickets.
Robbie's gonna be upset that we said that red runners are gross.
Not... Bro, those freak me out. Can you imagine that thing being all over your house?
You guys prefer dubia or crickets?
Crickets.
Crickets, but I do
for cresteds. Crickets.
For the mass of feeding cresteds, crickets are so much easier. Dubia are good for a smaller breeder like myself.
If you have like 20 or less geckos, dubia is
so I used to
like
feed before I started feeding crickets. I would feed dubia because I have a colony of dubia, and I would just feed them a bunch of crickets. But it would take forever because I would tongue feed them. And that's not very efficient at all. But there are a few geckos that love dubia, and I'll tongue feed them dubia, and they eat it up and they grow crazy fast. All of my chihuahua eat dubia. They still eat them at 40, 50 grams. I'll tongue feed them like large dubia, and they'll pound them. And so, yeah, they've just been used to eating dubia. But crickets are much easier for sure.
So what's wrong with red runners? So, the thing about them is that they've been touted by, not just Robbie, but others as being like a roach that can't infest spaces that are not a certain temperature and humidity, aka really hot and really dry. I ran some experiments and that's not true. So I took red runner. I took like a colony. I set up basically a colony of red runners in a space that was like 60 degrees and fed them very minimally and like basically like tried to not let them breed, and they still breed. And the Uthicas still hatch and the babies still grow. So if they can do that in 60 degrees when it's humid, they can very easily, they could infest your house. So I just said, no, I never am gonna like feed these things in my house. If you had a building where you were just like okay with a potential roach infestation, then go for it. I mean, like if you had like an outbuilding where you're just like, all right, this is just going to be how it is. Like
your landlord ain't going to be happy about that.
But like, if you like owned, like if you're like Robbie or Flawless or whatever, where you had like a shed and it's like, all right, if this thing gets overrun with red runners, like who cares?
Oh, wow.
And I think that, Robbie would probably say like, he doesn't have any problems, but for whatever reason, they don't die in my house. They don't die. So that's all I can go on is they don't die at my house. So
yeah,
that was for me, and that might be not other people's experience, but that was my experience. So
tell the story about how you left them outside.
Left them on the garbage can.
It was like 35 degrees, and they were still alive.
Yeah. So the day I was getting rid of the Red Runner colony, I'm like, I got to get rid of these things. I'm like, okay, I'm going to trash bag them and then put them out overnight. We had like a 30-degree night. I'm like, okay, put them in the trash bag, 30-degree night, open that thing up. Man, they were back at it. Like once the sun came back out, not bothered. They were good. Freaking whole colony was alive. So
that freaks
the bag, when I pulled the bag, so I put the bag out overnight because I was going to, dispose of it the next day. And it ice, like liquid, it like ice rained, or, it rained and froze, and like the bag was like iced.
Yeah,
they're still alive.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that's where I'm like, man, I don't trust these things at all.
Yeah. How about another person asked, what about grasshoppers as feeders? Have any guys had experience with grasshoppers?
I think that'd be really cool. I mean, I know that like Dean Messimer and like those people out in California are doing awesome work with them. I just don't know like commercial viability for like, I go through 12,000 crickets a week. So for me to breed enough grasshoppers to feed my collection would be a full-time job.
Right.
Yeah. You need like a whole,
I initially I messaged, I forget, I think it was Kai.
Kai Fan.
Yeah, Kai Fan after MJ recommended him to me.
Messimer are the two people.
Yeah, so he's good, very nice guy. We were chatting for a while back and forth, and then I eventually didn't pull the trigger because it sounded like it would take more work to figure out how the breeding cycle than just to buy crickets and dubia. So I just never gave it enough of and enough energy and time to kind of figure out the breeding of crickets.
I think it makes sense. Like if you're doing like tree monitors, like Brian or like some of these folks are doing something that like eats locusts really consistently, it probably makes sense from a variety standpoint to do it. But I think for us, where we're feeding so many insects to an insect heavy eating gecko, it might not be plausible to do.
Yeah.
I think dubia or crickets are probably your main options.
Yeah. What do you guys feed your toke, Brian?
Mine eats dubias and superworms.
Okay. You just leave them out. It'll snipe it.
I leave it in a dish.
Okay. You don't have to tongue feed them.
Yeah, I guess like with roaches, dubias versus crickets, it's the nutritional value on a roach is much better than a cricket. But
the number of them they'll eat.
Yes. And the problem is you got to feed them in dishes. Can you like us, all of us here?
Yeah.
We have enough animals that I'm not going to sit there putting each tongue of dubia in each dish and then putting it in. No,
not possible.
I tried that.
Not possible.
I tried it and it's not. Yeah.
Would it take you efficient. 4 hours?
Dude,
like 3 hours?
I gave up real quick. I tried it for a good maybe a couple months. I tried everything. I made all the mistakes.
Harry was also hand washing those glass containers that he put food in.
Oh my gosh. So I was telling AJ this. He's like, dude, why do you learn all this stuff the hard way? I was like, in some ways, I like making all the mistakes so that when new people ask, I'm like, I tried that. You know, I want to try every single thing so that I know why it doesn't work. Even though we know it doesn't work, why doesn't it work? You know,
you just have to spend less time doing the painful tasks. Do it for like a week and then give up, not 6 months.
So the dubia in those dishes that lasted maybe like 3 feeding cycles, and it's just not. They don't eat them. You know,
time wise, is too time consuming, and not all because dubias aren't as active as crickets, so they don't all take it. I put crickets in a container, shake it up with calcium, and go down the line. Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah. And they're all just hammering
it. And if you want to get good high nutritional value, gut load the crickets. Gut load it right before you feed them. And you'll get a good nutritional value out of it. For the cost, effectiveness, and time it's much more advisable to use crickets versus other insects.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to run this by you guys. This was asked by a couple of people talking about repairing for the season.
Ryan had submitted a question to me via IG, and just talking about like a first-time female that laid like a dud clutch and then a fertile clutch and then like a 1 egg good, 1 egg bad clutch. And if I would repair that female, just so if she's kind of heading in the direction of, you know, maybe the next clutch is bad, you know, would you repair when you start seeing those infertiles kind of mid-season? And I said, yeah. I mean, I don't see a harm in a repair. And you say your first pairing's in January. I don't see harm in repairing in May, you know, like May or April, May. Just kind of making sure that it takes, and especially those first year females, they're, you know, they can be a little touchy with their consistency with egg production. So another breeding won't hurt their odds. So, I always just say, when in doubt, you know, just repair. It doesn't hurt to repair.
A follow-up question for, I think a lot of new breeders ask is, if you pair late in the season and then the cool months come, do they still cool at the same time? And
not necessarily.
Does it restart once it starts heating up, or do you have to repair during that time? I feel like that's a somewhat common question.
I feel like that's like a 50-50 chance. Like you can do a late pair and still get 6 clutches, right? You could do a late pair and get 1 clutch. So it depends on. I guess it really depends on the female. Like I've done late pairings and I've gotten like 2 clutches.
But then sometimes if you late pair, you screw your next season too.
That's the problem. That's what I try to tell everybody because
explain that. I feel like that's an important point.
because let's say you do a late pairing. Let's say you do a pairing in June, and then your female stops laying in probably like December, January. You still have to wait like a 3-month cool down period before you can breed her again. So by time you're just gonna constantly breed that female late every year.
So at that point, like, wouldn't you just be better off? Maybe you could slightly pair her early. Like, say you pair everything else in January. If you want to pair her like end of November, and you want to like, that's probably like the best play is like you could pair a little early, get a little jump on the next season. But sometimes you just like right now, I'm sitting on a bunch of females and a bunch of males that were ready. Like kind of came of age like now. And I'm like, they're not going to breed till January, I'm just, because I don't want to jeopardize their season by getting like 2 clutches right now and then getting nothing next year. Or getting real spotty production next year. I'd rather just wait and get a full year of production out of it. So
exactly. That's perfect. That's perfect advice. Is just wait a little bit and start a little bit earlier. Like get it like if you do your normal pairings in January, start in end of November, December time, and then you'll get that pairing first, and then that's perfect. So you don't ruin out the whole next season.
Yep.
Is it possible? So might be a dumb question. Is it possible? Let's say you pair September, right? Let's say you pair in September. Can you keep those clutches rolling for a full normal cycle without it cooling, and then it cools like I don't know in February or March?
They're probably not gonna. Well, no. If you did that, I mean,
September. By the time it lays,
September, it'll lay like
mid-October. November.
Say it's October. September 1st, it'd be like mid-October.
Yeah.
It'd lay at the first clutch. And then, fast forward 30 days between clutches, you're probably going to get max 6 or 7 clutches.
Okay.
Typically.
You go to May almost.
And then you're coming into summer, and then temps are going to be high, and you're going to, and what my experience is she's going to keep cycling because the temps, the light cycles are still, light cycles are summertime, temps are high, all of that, everything else is breeding. And so then you run the risk of calcium crashing a female because she won't cool. And you just like, I don't know, then you're chasing, like Brian said, you're chasing like every year that female is going to be off schedule.
Got it. Okay.
And do you want to have like half your collection is I got to pair this one in March, this one in September, this one in January. Like, just be patient and just get them all. Just get them all on a similar schedule.
Cool. So that's good. This is really good advice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I made that mistake last year. I wanted to try something where I was breeding. I wanted to breed all year round so I can produce eggs all year round. Where I was doing.
That's another thing you can do. We can talk about that too.
Yeah. So you can. Well, so then you could have a section that breeds earlier, like the beginning of the year, and then the second half to breed closer towards the mid time of the year. So that way you're constantly doing eggs. The only problem with that is if you would really need like 2 rooms because you got the cycles have to be.
That's it.
So the temps and the light cycles have to alternate. So you have to have 2 rooms. I screwed myself up because I didn't do that. I didn't have 2 rooms. I have one. I have just the basement where my breeders are.
I see. Yeah.
And the ones that I did the later pairings on, I end up getting 1, 2 clutches, and then the cooling season came for my other ones, and the temperature. And I had to drop the temperatures because if I kept the light cycle and the temps up, they are going to keep laying.
Yeah.
So that's why I had. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna. I'll just cool it down. And then I ended up screwing myself on probably like a dozen females last year. And I only got like 1, 2 clutches out of them. And that was it. So this year, everything's in line this year. Everything's ready. And it was good for this year. And then next year would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye, Sarah.
Thanks for Sarah. Appreciate
so, yeah. Harry, I honestly think if you had like the best case scenario, probably the way to do it is to basically do what Brian's talking about, where you would have basically a summer cycle and a winter cycle, and basically you breed half the collection one half of the year and half the collection the other half of the year. And say if animals come of age in the summer, those just go into the summer cycle.
I see.
And those would go in that room. But what you need to do is you need to have a room that separate. In the summer, you need to have one that's cooling in the summer and one that's heated in the winter, and you need to have opposing light cycles. And so you would need to have like full temperature, humidity, lighting, control over separate spaces, and cycle the rooms, which for most people is probably not logistically like ideal. You know, if you're a big breeder, like I don't even do that. If I was a step bigger than me, I would maybe do that. I would probably do that. But that's quite the commitment. That would be more based on like if you had, like, say you're breeding bearded dragons or something where you had year-round demand and you needed to have clutches like every week. Like you have demand. You need to have clutches every week. You need to ship them every week. And that, I feel like with crested geckos, you kind of just hatch them when they hatch and sell them when they're ready. You know?
Yeah.
That's how most people function. So it's probably not relevant to 99.9% of people.
Right. It would be cool to try. I mean, like, if we were ever that level of, working. Have you ever tried that, AJ? I know in theory that should work.
I did this when I bred wholesale for big pet chains.
Got it. Okay.
When I had my relatively short stint of doing that, I had 2 spaces that were lit separately, and because we needed to have year-round production.
Yeah.
So it was like we were shipping these big stores weekly, so we needed to have year-round production. So I did it there. And that was the only time I ever bred in a room that had no natural light too. So it was challenging.
Just like a giant box warehouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I look forward to the little off-season break of not constantly going into the hatch boxes,
pulling all the
eggs. Like I look forward. Like
they're starting to dry up right now for me.
Yes, I'm like, oh, starting to cool down. Time to take a little break, relax, and then prepare for the next season.
Yeah.
You know? So I think if you're constantly going through that, it's like, oh man, this is a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, man.
Yeah, Eber. So what they were saying, probably just wait, be patient, just wait. Wait
I let them dud out.
Yeah, I would just let them lay duds, even if she's ready. I would just wait.
Keep them fed and healthy.
Have
you ever had female lay 1 egg and then a few days later lay her second? I have.
Yes, but it's very uncommon.
Yeah.
It's very uncommon.
Yeah.
Wasn't you, AJ, who had like a female that laid like some super huge egg and then like one small egg later on, or the vice versa?
That wasn't me.
Oh.
I have a gecko that lays really small eggs. Like I have a gecko that lays eggs
like
that look,
Yuri eggs?
They're like twice the size of a Yuri egg. They're pretty small.
That's small.
Like
they're pretty small. Yeah, they're like
Are
a third of the size of a normal crested egg.
Oh no. Are all those geckos like super tiny when they pop out?
They're smaller, they're not super tiny. And then I have like Arcane and Built, which are huge geckos. Dude, the eggs they lay are massive. Before they hatch, they're like almost the size of a lychee egg. It's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
And the bloodbath hatchlings come out like 2.5 grams.
Yeah.
You guys want to do a few more questions?
Yeah, we'll do a few more.
What age do you retire breeders? This one's probably for AJ. And do females run out of eggs at an old age, like most egg-laying animals?
I don't retire them if they're still useful for a project. I don't know. I mean, in the wild, an animal would never be like truly retired. And these animals will pretty much lay eggs forever. Like, I mean, their frequency of laying will reduce quite a bit. You know, they may only lay, like some of my old females, I'm lucky to get like 4 clutches out of them. 8 eggs would be like a good year, and maybe I only get 6, but they don't really ever stop. And they're going to lay duds regardless. So as long as they're like a good fit for the project still, and I want to have their offspring around, then I'll keep breeding them. Same with males.
Yeah.
I don't think there's actually like a harm to breeding animals past a certain age.
Older.
Yeah.
As long as they're producing, they're healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know like with dogs or whatever, like that, once they do X amount of litters, like it's actually dangerous for them to breed again. That's not the case with geckos. So
cool. Lighting for breeding season, and also similar temps and light cycle look like during cool down. So basically opposite, right? Lighting for breeding season.
Yeah. I do my season usually 12 photo
12
periods 12 to 13 hours.
Okay.
I usually go from 8 to 8 or 9 to 9.
Mine's 9 to 9.
Yeah, and temps, during breeding season they're between 75 to 80. Like but it's my nighttime temps are usually at 73 to 75. It's my cooling season that's a big difference. My daytime temps, my highs would be like 71, 72, and my lows would go as low as 67.
Yep, very similar to me. And then my light cycle in the winter is 8 hours.
8 hours.
Yeah. I go 8 and 12. So 8 winter, 12 summer. Or summer is breeding season. I go 8 or 12. Yeah. And I know you could like gradual step it. I haven't seen any harm in just doing that big 4-hour jump. Me personally, I've always done it. I've never had an issue. And then lighting options. I mean, it all depends. Like whatever. Like I have basically my room light, my actual light in my room. You can buy timer light switches, which are really nice. So basically like your normal light switch, you just replace it with one that actually has like a built-in timer in it.
Yeah.
Or you could do Wi-Fi bulbs in your, in your actual room, way. Or you can, run like an entire bank of cages into a power strip, into a timer, or into like a Wi-Fi plug that's a timer.
All my stuff is Wi-Fi plug.
Yeah. It really doesn't matter like if it's LEDs, if it's UVBs, whatever it is, they just need to have that cycle.
Yeah. So, when do you start your 12-hour days?
January. So like right now they're about to go to 8-hour days. Like probably, what is it right now? 9/7. Probably like end of September, they'll go to 8-hour days. And so it'll be all of October, all of November, all of December, Jan 1, 12 hours.
12 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I do a 3-month like actual cooling. Like they're cooling down. Like right now they're like drying up on egg production already now, but like they'll get like a true like light, and I'll spray less in the winter as well. So like humidity drops a little bit.
Yeah.
Stuff. So like I kind of, I do a bunch of stuff to kind of mimic a drier season, winter season.
Yeah.
So when you ramp up your photo period and your temperatures to prepare them,
spray,
right? You do so do you do that for a couple weeks before you start the pairing, or do you do that and then just pair right away? Or
well, it takes me so long to pair everything. That normally
just your
it's like
your initial one.
Yeah, I mean, normally it's like switch the lighting, and then a few days later I'll start pairing. But it takes me probably a month to get through pairings.
Okay.
Like just initial pairings takes me about a month.
Oh yeah.
So some will be on the back end of like, and some females might not get paired until February. Say if I'm doing like week on, week off with a male, like a female might not get bred till like second week of February or something.
Yeah.
So it all depends. Some will lay earlier because they'll have been like a first pairing. And normally you prioritize like the ones that you want to maybe get that extra clutch out of or whatever. But
yeah.
Like your favorite female for a male is probably the first one you do. And the one that's kind of like this would be cool. That's kind of the last one you do. So
yes, that's how I do too.
Yeah. I'm sure we all did the same thing.
Do you guys feel like you have your laying and your pairings pretty synced up at this point, or do you have some that are kind of late pairings off schedule a little bit? Kind of both, a mix of both.
I feel like I'm pretty dialed.
Okay.
I've done the same thing for a long time. It is interesting though, even just moving Illinois to North Carolina and trying to keep a pretty similar temp, humidity, light cycle, they still cycle differently based on where I live now. So it'd be interesting, like Brian, if you ever move like south or anywhere else, like you'll see that even if you say get an identical temperature, humidity, light cycle, they will still cycle differently. Like mine in Illinois, even though I'd pair them in January, they wouldn't really start laying until like April. They would lay late and they wouldn't really breed, even though I'd heat them up, light them up. Like they just wouldn't breed. And here, like they're laying eggs like February 1st. Yeah.
So that's the issue I have here is the same that you have with Illinois.
I wonder if do you have windows in your basement at all? Do you have any natural light that comes in? Zero?
None. So I do, but there's shutters on it. So none of it leaks through. You won't see it. Because actually the windows, one window is blocked by my fish tank.
What about upstairs? Can they see anything from upstairs or is the door closed?
No. Door's closed.
Okay. I don't know.
It's pitch black here when it's dark.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it would be like moonlight or I mean there's probably some unseen thing that they know that we don't know.
Yeah, whether they could feel some barometric pressures or whatever.
Yeah, or it comes down to, it just comes down to that. You know, there's some natural occurrence that we don't have a grasp on that they do. You know?
Yeah, they know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's good. That's interesting. Yeah, because everyone's starting to wind down on their season and trying to figure out the cool down period and figuring out what's next. So I think it's a good topic to talk about for sure. Yeah. Any final topics or cues you still want to touch on to close out on as we kind of hit this 2-hour mark? Anything?
No, I think it was good.
In your soul?
I think it's cool that it kind of turned into a mainly like care Q&A, which is cool. Like I feel like a lot of times it's like morph stuff and like
the market.
It was, it was cool to talk about like care.
What's a chocho?
What's a chocho? Next live, we'll bring it back up for a minute.
Why Korea is bad for the market?
We'll save that one for the next one.
Well, that was a teaser. Why did they screw the market? Was it our fault? Was it their fault? Who's to blame? That's a good clickbait title.
I recently refused the sale to Korea. I just told them it's not for sale, and then I sold the gecko to a U.S. buyer for the price that they offered.
That's awesome.
USA. That's awesome.
We do have 3 hours in us, but we don't.
Oh wow, it's been 3 hours.
2.
No.
Oh wow.
2.
It's been 2. Yeah,
Ricky said we have 3 in us. We do, but we don't want to.
I got work. I got work at 5. I got work at 5 a.m.
Yeah, 3 hours in us.
I got a new baby that doesn't sleep very well, so
I didn't eat dinner yet. So
I'll see Ricky this Sunday.
You'll see.
Oh, nice. White Plains.
Yeah. Ricky, buy some of Brian's geckos.
Yeah. Ricky's probably gonna hear all the breeders talk shit about me again.
Yeah.
I love it, bro. This time.
Oh, nice. Welcome. First time on live. Don't currently own a reptile, but really looking for joining the hobby. Let's get the likes up. Oh, is this Kenny?
Let's get these likes up. I think this is the new Kenny. Kenny owns reptiles. So.
Kenny owns Buckeye Morphs, but Sibley Warrior, appreciate you, man.
Sibley Warrior, is your name Kenny?
Is your name Kenny? Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, there are several topics that we didn't even touch on that some people asked in the questions and some things we want to talk about. But yeah, this is great. I just love the flow, that it was more organic and we just had a lot of back and forth with the community. So thank you guys for engaging, for asking a lot of questions. We'll have like usual, we'll have more of these for sure.
What if you guys should do a poll, like just suggestions, like who should we have on next? You know, who should you guys have on next?
Man, we get plenty of that already in the sense
you do?
of like, yeah, people always think, oh, you should have this
just
person on. I'm like,
recommend that
yeah, we're working on it. Yeah. We don't even need a poll. People will tell us who to put on all the time, and people, yeah, we'll leave it at
it's
that.
a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah, we don't need a poll. They tell us all the time. Hey, have this person on. Hey, have that person on, and we're like,
have AC on. All right, we'll have AC on. we do listen to everybody though, so even if we don't have them immediately, we'll sometime we'll load them on. So we just have a backlog that we're going to try to get people on. So we appreciate you all. Yeah, we love you all for sure.
We'll get to everybody. Yeah, the lives are good. I like the lives.
Yep, I love these lives. It's always easy peasy, good chats.
Just a chill.
Yeah, a lot of good knowledge being dropped. So
it's also fun engaging with people at the same time. You know, reading the comments.
See, like this, you just throw them up. Andrew says, "Great as always." You know,
Andrew's vending at Flora Fauna.
Yeah, that's exciting. I saw that.
Yeah,
congrats, Andrew. That's awesome,
man. It's gonna be
Andrew,
great.
We're gonna steal some of your animals. You got some crazy nice stuff over there.
I want to get probably one of his R2D2 lines.
Yeah, me too. Some stuff.
Those are cool. I like those.
Yeah, you can show Emily Burke that you made something as good as hers, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, that's awesome. Any final words, guys, before we close it?
No.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We've got more.
Stay tuned.
Got more stuff coming.
More to come. You guys are going to Tinley in 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
No,
man. It's like
a month.
3.5. October 4th.
Oh, 1 month. 1 month. Sorry, my timing is way off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
October. I'll be there October 4th to 6th, I think. Yeah. I leave on Saturday. Thursday to Saturday. Yeah. That's all I know.
Yeah, we've still got some time.
We got time. Sorry, my calendar is way off. I got so many things on here that I just get lost. So yeah, we'll have more podcasts coming up soon. A lot of surprises coming up, so it'll be good.
Thanks, Mr. Davison.
Oh yeah. Oh, Mr. Drew. Great show. Thanks, Drew.
Oh, Scott, please. I want Scott to go, man.
He might go. Scott.
I yet to meet Scott in person.
What?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people. So
we haven't met Scott in person either. Yeah. I might go means you're not gonna go. Don't lie. Scott.
Yeah. Usually the might means I'm not going, right? That's
yeah. I'm on the fence.
Yeah, I'm not
going.
Right,
guys. I'll finish up cleaning. Cool. So yeah, we'll close it out. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Listen back if you didn't hear the whole thing.
Yep. This one was. I feel like this was a very good one.
It's a good one. Really good one to listen to.
Very good. There was a lot of knowledge dropped on this. This is like a golden live. I feel
the incubator stuff.
Yep.
The stuff.
Pairing stuff.
The pairing stuff. The cycling. It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, this is gold. This is stuff you pay for. So.
We're gonna make you pay for it now. we're gonna
join our Patreon.
Join our Patreon. We're locking this behind the paywall. Get ready.
Join our Patreon that we don't have. We just give out free information for you guys. You're welcome. Join other people's Patreons.
Don't get used to it.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one. See you, Brian.
See you guys.
Good night.